Well, good afternoon, everyone. Good to see you all and hear from you, and good to remain connected. Um, I hope all of you participated in the Divine Liturgy this morning. I did, and it was wonderful. We have it live fed, live streamed from St. Elizabeth Church in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. I've chosen this church for multiple reasons. One of the most important reasons I chose it is that um, Father John and his family, Father John Oliver and his family, are doing the liturgy. His sons are the altar boys, and his daughters are the the chanters and the choir. So this way, we're not exposing anyone to anything, and we're not exposing the Oliver family to anything as well. So they are at the church as they are at home. There is no increased risk. So we're not violating social distancing. And that is very, very important to follow the recommendations of the CDC. It's very important to keep social distancing. It is very important to follow the recommended guideline of personal hygiene so that we can hasten the um, the eradication of this virus, and everybody would go back to church, everybody would go back to school and to work. It is, I agree, it is a very difficult time. It is unprecedented in our lives. Um, it is unprecedented in our lifetime, and it is not the way we're used to being. We are used to living in the U.S. We are very social people, and that's why I want to reiterate that we need to be um, patient. We need to be patient with each other. Some of us might lose their temper. Some of us might threaten other people. Some of us might be disrespectful. We should not treat them in kind. We should be patient and wait for them to finish their um, disrespect or whatever it is, and tell them that we love them. In this way, they will get the message not to be in that mood. It is very important to be patient so that we become contagious in our patience. That is very important. We can use this pandemic for our own benefit in terms of our spiritual lives. You see, there are at least 135,000 cases in the US now, the most in the world. And it's counting, it's mounting. It will continue to be like that. So we can use this shelter in place directive to increase our spiritual life. And in order to increase our spiritual life, we need to reiterate the fact that God is orderly and our day needs to be orderly. It needs to be scheduled. We need to wake up in the morning at the same time as if we go to work. We do our morning routine, we dress up, we don't stay in our pajamas. We get ready for the day, we do our prayers as families. I received so many emails from families who have said they have started doing that, to pray together every day, to eat together, which has become a very strange custom in the past. We need to get back to this custom. We need to become again families that eat together and pray together and listen to each other. So the schedule should include those types of activities together, should include working from home, should include schooling at home, should include reading some spiritual books on a daily basis. I've been recommending recently to read two books, The Way of the Pilgrim, because it's a very calming book and it shows us how monastics live, and we can borrow from them and live in the same way. And the other book that is very important, Our Thoughts Determine Our Lives. Our thoughts determine our lives, and this is very material to this day and age. We can be positive, as Elder Thaddeus is saying in his book. And that's the only way we can continue our lives under lockdown. And actually beyond that, that book shows us how to do it. And both of these books are very, very reasonably priced. If you order them on Amazon, each is about $15. And I think it is very affordable. And they will get delivered to you very quickly. This is not going to end soon. We're going to be in this for the long haul. And we need to practice patience. We need to practice positive thinking. We need to practice prayers. And during the day, it's okay to have some fun. Those are crucial issues that we need to keep. We have to know that Christ said in Hebrew 13:5, as St. Paul quotes, I will never leave you nor forsake you. St. Paul quotes Jesus in Hebrew 13:5, and he says, I will never leave you nor will I forsake you. And he will keep his word. He is with us every day. I recall St. Anthony the Great one day. He woke up in the morning after a long, long night battling with Satan. All night long, battling with Satan. And he thought that God, that Christ forsook him. And he complained. He said, where have you been, Lord? I've been fighting with Satan all night long. Where have you been? And the Lord told him, why do you think you're still alive and victorious in the morning? Because I have been with you. Trials and tribulations take us out of our comfort zones. And that's the only way we can increase spiritually. If we are comfortable, we will not increase spiritually. We need to get out of our comfort zones, and that's why I'm saying we need to take advantage of this period of time that we are at home to come out of our comfort zone and to increase spiritually. As I've said many, many times, my job and the clergy job is to comfort the afflicted, as I am doing right now. But at the same time, our job is to afflict the comfortable, as I'm doing right now as well. So if you're comfortable, I'm trying to afflict you. If you are afflicted, I'm trying to comfort you. So that when you're comfortable, I will afflict you again. So that you continue to increase spiritually. So please, all of you, buy these two books or other books that your priests have recommended to you and read them. Especially read them with your children. As I may have mentioned last time, I gave these two books to several people, and especially to teenagers. And some of these books might the second book, Our Thoughts Determine Our Lives, might be a little bit too heavy for a teenager. So what I do is, on a weekly basis, I meet with the teens on an individual basis on the phone, and we discuss what they read so that they can implement it in their lives, so that we can realize that Christ will not leave us nor forsake us. These are not just words. He proved that he will do that. He proved it on the cross until death. God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son. So with that, he means what he says. He will never leave us nor forsake us. Besides, he said something else that is very important. He said in Matthew 10:28, "And do not fear those who kill the body but cannot kill the soul, but rather fear him who is able," him with a capital H, "him who is able to destroy both soul and body in hell." Knowing these two verses, we should feel comforted because Christ, his Father, and the Holy Spirit are on our side. But they are allowing, the one God, the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, the three persons are allowing this pandemic for our benefit so that we may increase spiritually. We may live with God more during the day and teach our children to do the same. We should make the best of this situation and increase in our faith. I don't want to say too much more. I will open it up to questions. You can text me those questions on band, and I will try to answer them. If there are more questions after we finish and I don't answer, please send them on band as well. May God bless you, and I look forward to these questions. While you are typing the questions, if you have any questions, I would like to reiterate that we need to participate in the services during the week, on Sundays, and for that reason we are live streaming all the services on band, and I'm sure there are churches that are streaming their services as well on YouTube. So we don't have the excuse not to participate in these services. Why am I trying to do this? Because we need to stay connected to the church. We need to be able to go back to the church after this pandemic is over. And it will be over, God willing. It will be over, God willing. Okay, we have some questions. Let me read. Okay, so actually there are no questions. There are some thank you notes. Yeah, more thank you notes. So again, I want to give a few minutes more to people who want to ask questions, and I want to tell you again these two verses from the Bible. Hebrews 13:5. I will never leave you nor forsake you, Christ says. And that is very important to take to heart. Again, Matthew 10:28. And do not fear those who kill the body. Even if the virus gets to us, and God willing, it will not. And God willing, if it does, we will survive it. But do not fear those who kill the body but cannot kill the soul, but rather fear God, who is able to destroy soul and body in hell. Okay, we have some questions here. What can we tell our children about how to stay focused? I think we have, as parents, we have to stay focused. And we have to have that schedule every day. And we need to keep that schedule. I'm not saying to the letter, you can be flexible, but at the same time, we need to have a schedule. We need to get dressed in the morning. We should not watch the news all day. Yes, we can follow the news in the morning and in the evening. But if we watch it all day, we're going to be depressed. The same issues are reiterated over and over and over. And everybody is giving their opinion about it, about what we need to do. I advise you not to watch the news all day long. Maybe a little bit in the morning, maybe a little bit in the evening, just to keep track of what is going on. And that's how we can be focused. Watching the news, I guarantee you, all day, I guarantee you, it will not keep you focused. You will be distracted. Reading spiritual books together, praying together are two vital things that we can do all day. Part of the day Dom George, if social distancing continues for the long haul, will people still be able to receive confession? That's a very good question. If you make an appointment with your priest or your spiritual father, and you want to go to the church to make confession, to have confession, it needs to be in a way that the priest and the spiritual son or daughter are in at least 6 feet or even more apart. I did watch a video this morning that came out from one of the labs, and they talked about droplets that come out of the mouth or the nose when we sneeze. There are droplets that fall down to the ground within minutes, and there are micro droplets that are 1/1000th of a millimeter big. And those linger in the air for hours and hours and hours. So if we are very close to a person or even within 6 feet, we could get what they have. So that's why I would say, if you need a confession, you can make an appointment, either go to the church or even on the phone. But you would still have to have the prayer of absolution. Sometimes it is urgent to go to confession. It is, our conscience is paining us. So we make an appointment and we stay. My personal recommendation is more than 6 feet, 10, 15 feet away, which means nobody can be in that area to hear the confession except the spiritual father. There needs to be a third person far away at the end of the church or in the narthex, just for safety purposes. Susan Cushman, after we put our cross up, I read Abbott Trifon's Facebook post saying that there was no apparition. Oops, I lost the, there you go. Isn't it still a good thing that we put crosses on our front doors and pray to the Theotokos? Well, I did see that there is a statement that's going around on the internet that supposedly was issued by the fathers on Mount Athos to put a cross on our front door, and if we don't have a cross, to use olive oil to paint a cross on our front door. Well, these two things in themselves are okay, are good, but I have not heard of any directive from the fathers of Mount Athos. And that statement says that this is likely came from the Theotokos. There is nothing to prove that right now. That is not to say they're not good things to do. If you want to put a cross on your front door, please do it. If you want to use oil to paint a cross on your front door, please do it. Because the cross is always good, whether it is a physical cross or made out of oil. But I don't think there was such a statement from Mount Athos. I haven't heard of anything that came out of Mount Athos. They are having vigils and they are praying for all of us. Please call up in chat. There are a couple of questions that were missed. Okay, let me go back up. Father Antun Araj, Sayyidina, how long do you think it is going to last? I hope by Pascha. Well, this morning, or this afternoon actually, they interviewed the director of public health at Johns Hopkins University. He is a medical doctor, and he said he cannot predict. So we hope, we pray that it will be over soon. But at the same time, we need to be very, very cautious, because if we start going to schools and to our workplace too early, we can continue to spread the virus. So I hope, I pray that it will end very, very soon. I hope and pray that we will be able to have Palm Sunday in 2 weeks, that we will be able to have Holy Week and Pascha. I pray that we will do that. But if we cannot, we have God in every home. We have our prayer books. We have our spiritual books. We have the live streaming from churches that we can participate in. It is very important to stay patient and to stay vigilant. We cannot lose our temper. We cannot insult someone because we are stressed. Yes, we are stressed. But at the same time, we have to practice the virtues. We have to increase in the virtues. We have to become godlike. I've been talking about being godlike for the past 2.5 years in the Diocese of Miami in the Southeast. This is our chance to increase being like God. Let me check if there are other. Susan Cushman, do you know the original of the message on social media yesterday saying that the Theotokos told the monks on Mount Athos to tell all of us to put crosses on our front doors? I do not know where it came from. It is a good recommendation to do it, but I don't think it is from Mount Athos. But it is a good thing to do. Let's see. Will the diocese be streaming? This is from James and Mary Fox. Will the diocese be streaming the Great Canon this week? We are working on scheduling all the streaming, and I asked Michael Bachlick to work with Father John Oliver to put together the schedule on a weekly basis of having the services. if Father John and his family, God bless them for their persistence and for their holding services. If they are able to do that, we will stream them, absolutely. It is very important to stream them. The stress on them, on their voices, there are a few people who are doing all the work. So God willing, they will be able to do it. May God strengthen them and give them wisdom so that they can continue these services, especially to give them strength. Let's see. Okay. I think I've covered all the questions that were asked. Let me scroll back more. What can we do to encourage our children and ourselves when watching live streams of services when it is not the same thing as being in church in person? Well, the first thing I would do, I would have a family meeting before every service. And a family meeting to discuss the schedule I mentioned earlier. A family meeting would encourage the children. We are about to go to church now, even though it is on TV, even though it is live streaming. By the way, if you live stream it on your phone, you can do mirroring of the service to your TV and watch it on your TV, and you can make the sound as loud as you can, as you want. You can do that. I do it when I participate in the services. I do mirroring. You can do it with Apple TV. You can do it with Samsung mirroring or Smart View. And that makes it easier to watch and easier to participate in. So the family meeting would be to discuss the fact that we are going to church now. We stand up when it is necessary, when the priest turns to us, even on the live streaming, when he's sensing, when we are supposed to stand up, we stand up. So that we have the feel that it is church. If you have incense, you can burn incense. If you have candles, you can light up candles at home. And that makes it easier for the children and for the adult to actually concentrate on church, that it feels it is church. All of this ambient issues are very important. The smell of incense, the candles, the icons, if you can have icons, have the children venerate the icons at the end of the service or even at the beginning of the service, so that they feel we are in church. Father Joseph Abu Eid is saying there was an official apology from Abbot Trifon regarding the cross. It is on Facebook, David.Parsons, and a bunch of numbers. You can search for it on Facebook, as Father Joseph is saying. There is it is also on, it is on Facebook, not a website, okay. Eleni is saying if you have an HDMI cable, you can connect a laptop to the TV if you are not able to cast your phone to your TV. Wonderful, Eleni. That's a wonderful thing. Sarah Hodges is saying Walmart has HDMI cables. Yes, they do. And they're no longer expensive as they used to be. So you can stream from, if you have a newer computer that has an HDMI port, you can connect it directly to your phone via HDMI cable. If you're like me and have an older phone, an older computer, then you have to use other ways, like the mirroring or Apple TV and so on. Well, if there are no more questions, I'll give, there is one more. Yeah, just a thank you for the live streaming. Please, we will post this recording on Facebook and on Band. Please encourage other people to watch it, and we will continue to have this on a weekly basis. Let me tell you what happened last week if you are not up to date. On Friday, we had the medical staff of DOMSE, Dr. Fadi, Dr. Sergey, and Jessica from three different churches come online. We did a live streaming on Zoom, and many people called in and asked questions, called in on Zoom, that is. And the recording is already on Facebook and on Band if you want to see it. A lot of good questions that were asked, and the three professionals answered all of them. We had last Friday, yesterday actually, Saturday, we had the cyber spring retreat for the teens. We had 60 people log in on Zoom. And I suggested at the end of the cyber spring retreat to have a weekly or bi-weekly retreat for the teens. Some of them right away replied, yes, absolutely, we want it. So I asked all the teens to email Father Philip Rogers, who is the spiritual advisor for the teens, to email him their opinions. And on Thursday, the Teen Sawyer board is going to meet. I will be with them as usual, and we will discuss this. We will ask priests to lead these retreats on a weekly or bi-weekly basis. We have 40 priests, more than 40 priests, and we can ask different priests to hold it at different weeks. So God willing, we will do that to keep the children focused on the church and on the gospel. Okay, thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Well, God bless you all, and we'll see you next weekend on Sunday for the next live streaming. God bless you. Bye-bye.